Hi everyone, Jana here. I'm back with an update on immigration law in Germany. You might have seen my last video where I had Wiebke as a guest over and we talked about bringing your parents to Germany. And we have decided to publish another update where we are going to talk about permanent residency because there have been some important changes to that as well on 1st of March. And that's why I'm really glad to have Wiebke joining me again. Hi, Wiebke.
Hi, Jana. I'm so glad to be back.
Same here. So can you tell me what has changed in terms of permanent residency since 1st of March?
Yeah, I know people will be very glad about these changes. So what has changed is so the time from entering Germany and starting full-time employment in Germany to the time where you can apply for the permanent residence permit, that means Niederlassungserlaubnis in German, that has decreased. So for the blue card, with basic German knowledge, it's 27 months instead of 33 months. And for the blue card with the B1 certificate or B1 German knowledge, it is still 21 months, nothing has changed. But it has also changed for skilled workers, so people with an academic degree, for example. They can apply after 3 years instead of 4 years. There are additional requirements to get the permanent residence permit, but if you meet all these requirements, you can apply earlier now. So that is quite good.
Okay, so that's really great news. One major change last year was that IT specialists also became eligible for the EU Blue Card. And I'm wondering whether this time where people were, for instance, holding an IT specialist title also counts towards permanent residency now, if this person is now eligible for an EU Blue Card. So do you know anything about that?
Yes, as far as I know, that is the case. So IT specialists who were holding an IT specialist residence title and are now eligible for the blue card, they can apply after 27 months now. The regulation around it is a bit complicated. It means that you had to have been eligible for a blue card, at least a bottleneck profession blue card in case of IT specialists, at the time where you were acquiring these months. But as IT specialists had to gain more, had to earn more than a bottleneck profession, a blue card, they really should be eligible. But that means that people who are not IT specialists, they might not be eligible for the 27 months. They would really have to check if they always met the requirements for the blue card at that time, at that specific time. So this is actually a really exciting change for IT specialists because they can apply instead of 4 years, they can apply after 2 years and 3 months. That is quite exciting.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. It's a bit confusing with the salary and so on. So if I understood that correctly, it means that if you were holding an IT specialist title, but you were meeting the minimum salary threshold for the EU Blue Card, then you are eligible, or these months do count towards permanent residency. And since IT specialists had this quite high salary threshold in the last few years, yeah, it's highly likely that you're eligible for this, right? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, exactly. It might be different for people who are not IT specialists and who are eligible for the blue card now, but haven't been before. They would really have to check if at any time that they were in Germany, they actually met the blue card requirements of that time. So, so yeah, it's a bit complicated, really.
Yeah, but I think that helps to understand it. Thank you. So does this mean that you now have to change your residence permit first? So because I'm very sure that there are a lot of IT specialists out there who are now planning to apply for a new blue card and then for permanent residency if they have already covered these months. So is it necessary to do that, to first apply for the EU blue card?
I have had cases where it was not necessary to change first. So they applied directly from the IT specialist visa. They had the before 33 months, now 27 months. and they were able to get the permanent residence permit without changing the title first into the blue card. But as in Germany, we have a different immigration office for every city, for every region, and the different caseworkers work there. So it might be necessary in your immigration office that you change to the blue card first, but you could check with your immigration office first. This is also the title where I see the most mistakes made in the process. So I've had caseworkers from the immigration office ask me for an A2 title or a completely different set of documents, and sometimes it takes very long if one doesn't ask and push back. Or yeah, so this is one title where it makes a lot of sense to actually question the answer from the immigration office and to push back a bit. And yeah, if you're having trouble, you're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's unfortunately often the case, especially with new regulations, right? Because we don't have this one central office, but a lot of local offices that sometimes have different policies in place, and it can be very confusing. And I think that's why for permanent residency, it can, I think, be really helpful to have someone support you with that if that's of interest. So that's also something we can help with if you're interested. Then yeah, just reach out. One last question, or two questions actually. You mentioned the language certificate. So as far as I have understood, you need A1 language skills to be eligible for these 27 months. Is there any special certificate needed for this?
Yes, so it says basic German skills, which is a very vague term, simple basic skills. So that can be interpreted in different ways, but a lot of pages, government pages, for example, the Make It in Germany page and some pages of local immigration offices actually mention the A1 German skills. And in Berlin, until now, you were able to prove your A1 German skills during the appointment. You could go to the appointment and just speak to the caseworker and have a simple conversation, and that would prove that you speak A1 German. So it was normally quite easy to prove it, and you didn't need any special certificate. Again, it might be a bit different for your immigration office still.
Yeah, and as we've heard, apparently they are also now asking for A2, so we have to wait and see what happens to that. Okay, last question, because that's also something that I think a lot of people want to know about. What about spouses? Are they also eligible for the reduced waiting time for permanent residency?
Yeah, unfortunately not. Spouses, if they don't hold their own employment title, some spouses change into a blue card themselves or take up employment, then they would be eligible for the reduced times. But if they are here on a dependent title, they need to be in Germany for 5 years and are then only eligible for the permanent residence permit.
Okay, so unfortunately, this is not applicable for spouses. Also very helpful to know in case you have a spouse that might be eligible for an EU blue card, then it might make sense to change your residence title. Also very good to know. Thank you, Wiebke, for these insights. I think that was super helpful. And I would also like to invite people here to share their experiences with us. As I mentioned already, feel free to reach out if you need support with permanent residency. But also if you're applying for permanent residency yourself, I think it would be very insightful to hear about your experiences here, especially since this is a quite new regulation. And I think, yeah, the more we know, the better for everyone. So yeah, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much.